Hello class, my name is Chris Karras. I am one of your fellow classmates in Fire 4301 Political and Legal Foundations of Fire Protection. The scenario given to us to evaluate is a fire crew that evacuated a scene due to another pending call, and you as a fire investigator show up after the crew leaves to perform an investigation. I am now going to explain, as a lawyer would, why the Fourth Amendment rights and evidence that was collected during this scenario were not broken and admissible, respectively. Your Honor, I stand before you today to explain why the evidence that was presented in the form of samples from the scene in question are admissible in this courtroom today. There was a reasonable amount of time between the fire company's second response and the arrival of the investigator to not require the use of a warrant. With that being said, there is no need for a warrant to collect and charge the resident, which is backed by Michigan versus Tyler, which states an entry to fight a fire requires no warrant, and that once in the building, officials may remain there for a reasonable time to investigate the cause of the blaze. I also will go on to summarize that if new areas of access are to be searched during the investigation that did not have a role initially in the fire but could provide evidence to determine the cause, it does require a normal warrant. It is important to note that the investigator did not access any structures that could have required a warrant. Your Honor, it is important that firefighters stick to their assigned roles while conducting operations, and it is also important to have base knowledge of others' roles and other roles of personnel on scene. To avoid miscommunication and misunderstandings, knowledge of best common practices for each role on a fire scene should be known by all who plan to operate at the most basic levels. This illustrates that the investigation into the fire's cause was not started by anyone on the crew that took the second call. In this case, the Fourth Amendment rights of the plaintiff were not violated. As part of extinguishing a fire is the investigation of the cause to determine if there was any further hazards, the origin, or misconduct that need to be mitigated before cleanup and reconstruction can begin. Overhaul is the key to preventing further spread of fire, but it does have the ability to damage and completely destroy evidence at times. In this case, the fire was not in the overhaul phase yet and was not deemed secured prior to the departure of the crew on scene. As the inspector entered the structure, he notices suspicious placement of furniture and the possibility of a pour pattern. And since these items were found in the same room that was involved with the fire, all evidence is admissible. Thank you for your time and attention.